10 inches of rain is setting up right now across a corridor of 10 million Americans. And the storm delivering it is not Tropical Storm Bertha. Bertha is only half the story tonight. The real threat is what Bertha leaves behind and where that moisture is heading after landfall. At minute 3, I will show you the exact states facing the highest flash flood risk this week. By minute 7, I will explain the one atmospheric pattern that makes this setup genuinely alarming. Stay until the end. There is good news buried in this forecast that most people miss. Right now, as I speak, a stationary front is locked across the central Appalachians. It is not moving. Cold air pressing from the northwest. Deep tropical moisture surging from the Gulf, both equally matched. When two air masses of equal force collide and neither can advance, storms do not move, they train. Training storms are the most dangerous flood setup in meteorology, cell after cell, same location, all week. One storm drops 2 inches, it clears. Another drops 2 more inches on already saturated ground. By the 3rd or 4th cell, that ground is done absorbing. Every drop goes straight into your streets. This is not a single storm event. This is a 4 to 6 day moisture fire hose aimed at your region. This is already unfolding, and most people in the affected zone have no idea what is coming. This is real. This is happening right now. The next 72 hours are when decisions matter most. Before I show you that corridor, there is one number in this forecast I have not mentioned yet. It stopped me cold this morning. It is not the rainfall total. It is what fuels the rainfall. Precipitable water values above the impacted region are running at over 2 inches right now. 2 inches! 2 inches of precipitable water means the atmosphere above you is a fully loaded water balloon. You do not need a major hurricane to produce catastrophic rainfall when the air column is that saturated. An ordinary afternoon thunderstorm in air like this produces what used to require a Category 2 hurricane. Stay with me. The next 2 minutes of this video contain the most important information for your safety. Let me walk you through exactly how this pattern came together. It starts with Tropical Storm Bertha. Bertha drifted slowly across the Gulf, barely moving, building an enormous reservoir of tropical moisture. At its offshore peak, areas near Bertha's core were receiving 12 to 20 inches of rainfall over water. Bertha has now made landfall near New Orleans. The storm itself is weakening fast under wind shear. But weakening does not mean disappearing. It means the moisture Bertha carried is now being redistributed. Think of Bertha as a wrung-out sponge. The sponge is spent, but the water it released keeps moving. That moisture is now streaming northward up the Mississippi Valley directly toward the Ohio River watershed. It is feeding into the stationary front parked over the Appalachians and igniting training thunderstorm cells. Louisville, Lexington, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh. The front runs directly through or just north of these cities. Eastern Tennessee, Western North Carolina, Southwest Virginia, the same moisture plume is feeding your mountains. Knoxville, Asheville, Johnson City, Bristol, every one of these communities is in the elevated rainfall corridor. And the Carolinas, do not underestimate what is building for the Eastern Carolinas this week. It is significant. Raleigh, Charlotte, Greensboro, Columbia, the atmospheric river rotates across these areas Thursday into Saturday. And further east toward the coast, the moisture surge arrives with a 24-hour delay but equal intensity. Wilmington, Fayetteville, Myrtle Beach, your highest risk window opens Friday afternoon through Sunday morning. Here is the 3-minute reveal I promised, the exact corridor facing the most dangerous flooding this week. The highest rainfall totals will concentrate across a corridor from eastern Tennessee northeast into Virginia. Inside that corridor, isolated storm totals of 8 to 14 inches are possible over a 48-hour window. For context, 8 inches is what Asheville averages in all of July combined in one 48-hour window. A full month of summer rainfall potentially falling in a single 48-hour period across the mountain valleys. Secondary corridor, western North Carolina to upstate South Carolina, where 4 to 8 inches is forecast. Now I want the mountain communities to hear this clearly. Elevation does not protect you from this event. Mountain watersheds concentrate rainfall into narrow valleys faster than any flatland river system can drain. The Pigeon River, the French Broad, the New River, these fill rapidly and they fill without much warning. Roads that run alongside mountain rivers can become completely impassable in under 2 hours during these events. Has your household ever discussed what to do if your only road out flooded for 24 hours? Most families living near mountain rivers in this region have not had that conversation. Have it tonight. Now here's the part of this forecast that makes the Ohio Valley cities particularly vulnerable this time. The stationary front is not a narrow line. It is a broad zone, several hundred miles wide. Communities 100 miles north of Cincinnati are still inside the elevated rainfall zone for this pattern. Columbus, Dayton, and Indianapolis are on the northern edge of this corridor. Do not take that lightly. Training storms have a habit of anchoring further north than models initially suggest. Watch your local radar. Now here is what 4 inches of rain means for an urban watershed with aging infrastructure. Pay attention. Most city storm drain systems in the Ohio Valley were designed for a 1 inch per hour rainfall rate. We are watching models suggest rainfall rates of 1 to 2 inches per hour during Thursday's peak cells. At 2 inches per hour, your street can be under 6 inches of water in 20 minutes. And this is the connection most forecasters are not making. The slow speed makes the flooding catastrophically worse. A fast storm drops its rain and exits. The training event keeps dropping rain for days straight. The ground reaches full saturation after the first 2 to 3 inches. Everything after that is pure runoff. Pure runoff in an urban area means flooded underpasses, basement backups, overwhelmed culverts, and road closures. Here is the hour-by-hour timeline so you know exactly when the dangerous windows open in your area. For the Ohio Valley, the first heavy rain arrives Wednesday evening between approximately 6 and 10 p.m. That first wave will not look alarming on radar. Scattered cells 1 to 2 inches for most areas. But that first wave is the setup. It saturates the ground before the organized heavy rainfall arrives Thursday. The main event for the Ohio Valley into the Appalachians begins Thursday morning and runs through the evening. That 12-hour Thursday window is where 3 to 5 inch totals accumulate across the core impact zone. Peak Thursday rainfall models trend toward 1.5 to 2.5 inches per hour. At 2 inches per hour, flash flood watches become warnings in real time. Stay inside during that window. Friday brings a brief lull. Hear the next sentence clearly. The lull is not the end of this. The Friday lull is not the end. A second moisture surge follows Friday night into Saturday morning. That second surge adds another 2 to 4 inches on top of ground that is already completely saturated. Do not miss the next part. This is the most underreported danger in the entire setup this week. The rivers are the primary threat, not the direct rainfall. Rivers respond to upstream events hours later. The Ohio River, Kentucky River, Big Sandy, Kanawha, and New River into Virginia and West Virginia. These river systems drain enormous watersheds. When those watersheds fill, the rivers downstream rise for days. The Kentucky River at Frankfort crested dangerously in the 2022 Eastern Kentucky floods. This setup is comparable. The National Weather Service has already issued flood watches for dozens of counties across the impact corridor. A flood watch means conditions are favorable for flooding, but in a training event, the watch upgrades fast. The jump from watch to warning to emergency can happen in under 3 hours in a training event. Here's the 7-minute reveal, the single atmospheric ingredient that makes this week genuinely unusual. The jet stream has amplified into what meteorologists call an omega block pattern over the eastern United States. An omega block locks weather systems in place. Storms cannot escape, moisture cannot flush northward and out. The moisture recirculates instead. It is like sealing a lid on a pot while continuously adding heat below. The last comparable omega block over the eastern U.S. produced the July 2022 Eastern Kentucky catastrophe. That event dropped 7 inches in Letcher and Knott counties in under 12 hours. 39 deaths. This week is more diffuse across several days, but the total moisture load is in that same range. Now let me cover what this means for the parts of the country not in the flooding zone. The plains and the northern Rockies are seeing an entirely different weather story this week, not flooding. A high-pressure ridge is building across Kansas, Nebraska, and the Dakotas, keeping things hot and dry. Kansas City, Omaha, Sioux Falls, temperatures pushing into the upper 90s and triple digits through the weekend. Heat advisories are likely across portions of the Central Plains by Friday afternoon. Check your local NAWS alerts. In the Pacific Northwest, the lingering ridge that produced last week's excessive heat is finally shifting east. Slightly cooler conditions arrive for Seattle and Portland by the weekend, but wildfire risk stays elevated inland. Interior Pacific Northwest and Northern Rockies fire weather watches possible into next week. Watch red flag warnings. Back to the flood zone, here's the action plan because this is what matters most right now. If you live in a basement or ground floor unit from Louisville through the Mountain Carolinas, hear this now. Action 1, move anything irreplaceable off the floor and onto shelves or upstairs tonight. Do not wait. Documents, electronics, medications, photo albums, 6 inches of water. Destroys everything at floor level. Action 2, test your sump pump now if you have one. The discharge hose must be fully clear. A sump pump idle since spring can seize at the exact moment you need it most Thursday morning. Action 3, keep your fuel tank above half through Thursday and Friday. Do not let it drop lower. If you need to evacuate or reroute around flooded roads without warning, a near-empty tank is dangerous. Action 4, charge every device tonight and keep your backup power bank charged through Saturday morning. Severe thunderstorms embedded in this system will knock out power. Outages of 12 to 24 hours are likely. Action 5, identify your alternate route out of your neighborhood before flooding makes your main road impassable. Go to weather.gov right now, pull up your county, and read the current flood watch for your zone. The travel warning, non-negotiable for anyone driving through the Ohio Valley or Appalachians on Thursday. Never drive through water on a road. 6 inches of moving water stalls most passenger vehicles entirely. 2 feet of water carries away a full-size pickup. Most U.S. flash flood deaths happen inside vehicles. Water on a road means turnaround. You cannot see depth or what lies beneath the surface. The road may be completely washed out beneath the waterline. The surface from yesterday may be gone. Seniors and those with medical needs make essential appointments before Wednesday, if at all possible this week. If you have appointments Thursday, contact your provider now about rescheduling or telehealth alternatives today. Now, the good news I promised at the top, this is genuinely good news, not just optimism. The Omega block causing this flooding is also what will bring it to a clean and definitive end. Model consensus shows the block breaks down Sunday evening for the Ohio Valley and Monday for the Carolinas. When the block breaks, the stationary front lifts northward and the moisture fire hose shuts off completely. Sunday through Tuesday next week looks genuinely dry, sunny, and comfortable across the entire impacted region. Temperatures return to seasonal norms, highs in the mid-80s, humidity drops, the air clears, genuinely pleasant. We will get through this. The other side looks really good. The next 48 hours are what matter. Your summary, Wednesday evening, first wave arrives, 1 to 2 inches. Ground begins saturating. Stay aware. Thursday main event, Eastern Tennessee through Virginia faces 4 to 10 inches over 12 hours. Stay home. Thursday night into Friday, river flooding peaks on the Ohio, Kentucky, New and Kanawha watersheds. Watch alerts. Friday lull, do not be fooled. A second surge arrives. Friday night adding 2 to 4 more inches. Saturday and Sunday, Carolinas coast takes the heaviest remaining rainfall. Wilmington and Myrtle Beach, prepare now. Sunday evening, the Omega block breaks, the pattern shifts, the rain ends, and the country breathes again. Check on your neighbors before Thursday. Someone on your street is going into this storm without a plan. Check on elderly family members tonight. Make sure they know what is coming and have what they need. If this forecast is different from what you are hearing elsewhere, trust the data over the reassuring headlines. The NWS has issued flash flood watches across dozens of counties. Take those statements at face value. If this was useful, share it with someone in the Tennessee Valley or the Mountain Carolinas right now. A heads up from someone they trust reaches them faster than any NWS push notification they will swipe away. Subscribe and hit the bell. We are tracking every model run through Thursday's peak event live. Coming up next, what the pattern looks like going into early August, there is a signal worth knowing. There is something building in the long-range models for August that nobody is discussing yet. Stay tuned. Stay weather aware, stay prepared, stay safe through what is shaping up to be a historically significant weather week. The next 72 hours count for millions of Americans from the Ohio River to the Carolina coast. We are watching every development and will be back the moment models show any significant change.